FDTV presents Gentle Giant with Pam Minnick and Katie Kaufman.
This week, we're in LaPorte, Indiana, where draft horses have had a role in the LaPorte County Fair since 1845. That's 170 years. It is Indiana's oldest county fair.
You're right, Pam. While we've seen many fairs with abundant draft horse entries, LaPorte is different because nearly all 100 horses are from this county alone. We'll see how the 4-H draft horse program has played an important part in keeping the history alive here.
Stay with us. Gentle Giants begins in just a moment. Welcome back to Gentle Giants. As you stroll through Pioneer Land at the fairgrounds, you can see how they strive to educate youngsters about the traditions of the past. Building a stronger future for the draft horse industry is the goal of the LaPorte County 4-H draft horse program.
Kind of feels a little bit like historic to me. Partly the reason that we do this is because of the history in it, and people lose the history of what draft horses were for and how awesome they are and how so many things you could do with them. And just one of those things is something that we do as a family, you know. And in the age of electronics and Facebook and video games, it gets us all together out doing something pretty cool as a family.
My grandfather and my grandmother, they started the LaPorte County Association. My grandfather passed away. They asked me to take his spot. So I've been involved now for 6 years and trying to keep the program going. It's been, every year we've kept between 50 and 60 kids, so it's been a heck of a ride. We have to teach them on how to do this and be involved. And if we don't have the youth, it's going to slowly die out. And as a young guy myself, I don't want to see that happen. So it is very important. If you ask people about LaPorte County Fair, first thing you're going to say is the draft horses. You know, where's the draft horses? And I guess that's been a draw for us and helped us grow this 4-H club.
The draft horse program here is amazing. The amount of horses and the amount of kids who are interested in draft horses, you don't see that anywhere else. When I was in 4-H, I was the only one in my county, so this is amazing. And the fact that they are still keeping it going and the dedication that they put in year after year is wonderful. And they find horses for the kids, and if the kid needs anything, they are just more than willing to help.
I think that's been our biggest draw is they don't have to own a horse. I mean, it's totally different than any other project. They don't have to buy anything. They have to attend 5 out of the 7 meetings, and we'll pretty much put them where they need to go. The owners will work with the kids, very hands-on teaching. They have to get so many hours of driving, handling, and they have to do worksheets. We do it educational. We do clinics for them. Anything to get hands-on to teach them. Because most of the kids aren't in the country. They are city kids. They didn't grow up like I did. So it's been very rewarding to see a smile on their face. And when you see these 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds showing a big draft horse, that's exciting. You know, they don't get to see that every day. The kids are selling the project. You know, they're telling their friends, then they tell their parents, and then their parents come talk to us. And like I said, with not owning an animal, they get hands-on. They get to get taught what it's like to take care of something. We put all these worksheets out there, what it costs to feed an animal nowadays. The responsibility, I think that's the biggest thing that I see with kids is we're teaching them responsibility. So I don't know, as a young person, you're trying to develop them into an adult. So I feel like that's what we're trying to do here. I just want everybody to understand what it takes to do this. To how to harness a horse, how to drive a horse, the conformation of a horse, you know, things like that you're trying to teach a young person and have their interest in it. You're only going to keep a kid's interest for so long.
We really enjoy the part about being able to teach kids who don't have horses, who don't have the ability or place to keep a draft horse, because you need a lot of room and a lot of hay and to feed these guys. And there's 90% of our kids in 4-H don't own horses. They lease horses from us. So a lot of the owners get that involved in the 4-H, and it just feels like you're giving back. It feels like you're teaching the next generation, hopefully.
When I started this, I didn't have horses. I didn't know how to harness. I didn't know how to drive. I didn't know how to lead a horse. I was afraid to lead a horse, and I was about, like this tall. And so I learned everything. Everything I know came from this club, and it's given me a lot of really great experiences. I've gotten to travel with different hitches from this, and I get to just see everything and all the different atmospheres, and it's really great. My dad always just kind of watched, and then when we bought our first horse, he got more involved with like harnessing and unharnessing and getting all that, and he had to learn. He learned right alongside me. I mean, we both learned everything at the same time, so it was really great learning with him.
Our draft horse program has grown exponentially over the years. I know when our kids started in it almost 9 years ago, it was probably a third the size it is now. And every year we get more and more kids, and it's just it's very gratifying to see all these kids come in and see these horses, and I think it speaks well for the county and what we have going on.
4-H here at LaPorte County, we have one of the biggest clubs out of anywhere, and it's pretty great to see everyone working together. I think that's probably one of the best parts of it. In 4-H, it looks great on scholarships. It's going to help you get into college one day. If there is a person who did 4-H compared to not do 4-H, who do you think? You learned great values in 4-H.
You should get involved. It's a real fun experience, and it teaches you a couple lessons that you couldn't really learn if you didn't do this, and it's really fun.
It teaches them leadership skills. It teaches these kids to be able to communicate between other people. It keeps them well-rounded, I believe.
4-H for me has been probably one of the most influential things in my entire life. You just learn a lot of life lessons in 4-H.
I pledge my head to clear thinking,
my heart to greater loyalty,
my hands for larger service,
my health to better living.
For my club, my community, my country, and my world.
When Gentle Giants returns, we'll visit a local farm where percherons are a part of one family's daily life. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Gentle Giants. In the beautiful countryside around LaPorte, the Hagenow family is bonded by hard work, traditional values, and beautiful percheron horses.
It's just great to be this close and with my family and everything, and raise these horses with my parents, and I just enjoy it, and to be able to have the kids involved in it and do everything that they do here. Sometimes I'm kind of hard on them to get chores done, but that's how I was raised. All the kids will hook 3 sets of horses and rake hay and just trade in and out to get the job done.
It's extremely important, and I'm glad that they want to do the same thing, because it makes it a family event, and something that we all, even just my husband and I, it's hard to find something for husband and wife that we can do together, and this is something that we love to do together. And so for my boys to want to do it, and I think some of them want to continue it even when they're out of the house.
They remind me of myself because they're very active, they're family involved. They probably have 10 or 12 horses. I think they have 6 or 8 here today, and they probably have another 4 or 5 at home. I'm a Belgian man, he's a Percheron guy. So it's fun. I'm just glad to see that families are still involved doing this. So him and his wife Karen, they're excited to be a part of it too here in LaPorte.
I've grown up here all my life. I don't know how many acres we have, but it's enough, and it's a lot. It's enough that we can, anytime I want, I can go out there and I can see them running full steam. And when you're out there and they're running full steam, and you feel the thunder of 8 to 10 horses thundering across the field, it's awesome. They're just your average size horse. They're big, they're bulky, and they can do what you want them to do.
Their temperaments aren't any different than any other horses. It's just we like the color, we like the shape and the body and everything, and it's just preference and what we like.
We have bred for farm horses because we have a farm. We want to train them for that because anyone can have a really showy horse and you can breed them for that, and that's what everyone's breeding for nowadays. But we want a horse that can show and be pretty, but can go out in the fields and rake hay for us and everything.
It's just kind of like blissful and not that stressful all the time, so it's just overall nice, and like little baby's cute and them are really friendly, so big like giant soft teddy bears.
It just seems normal, second nature really, just to come out here and feed the horses every night and have chores, go to the farm and feed cows, horses, everything. I just like the feeling of getting out there and holding those horses and just having them go fast and hold more of them, trying new things and getting the horses that you always have and just working them, but trying new horses and just trying new things and trying the 4 and the 6 and stuff. We can all go outside and drive horses and work together and everything.
I think it gives them an air of confidence. It really helps their self-esteem and confidence because they put their shoulders back, and I think they're really proud at what they're doing, and for people to be watching them. And it's something unique, their classroom full of kids in their school, there isn't probably anybody, I'm sure, in their grade that does anything like this that they do. So even for me, it feels kind of special to be able to do something this unique and really kind of historic, really, because people have been driving draft horses for centuries.
I think I'm a lot more honest in everything and not as rambunctious as other kids. I feel like other kids haven't learned what it means to work hard and get out there. And I think my parents have really taught me that, because if I'm just sitting there, on the couch or something, they'll tell me go outside and feed horses or something. I can never go to bed before I feed horses or have done chores. I never get a day where I'm just sitting on the couch doing nothing. I'm always doing something.
When Gentle Giants returns, we'll see how 4-H is continuing to shape lives of our future generations.
Welcome back to Gentle Giants. From showmanship and decorating to judging and learning to safely care for and drive horses, the LaPorte County 4-H Draft Horse Program gives these youngsters all the tools they need to be successful.
What you will witness here is there'll be 20 kids per division, and they'll do anything from a showmanship class. That is our mandatory. They have to do one class, and that's showmanship. Ground driving, to driving a cart, to a wagon, and even a 4-horse hitch we'll have only for our senior divisions. But to see these kids' faces where they get to drive a 4-horse hitch, that doesn't happen everywhere, it's just, to see their faces is rewarding enough for me.
The draft horse program is my favorite part of 4-H. I definitely like working with the big girls and everything, and my first experience was when I just got there and walked up to them, and just knowing that you can control that amount of power is slightly intimidating, but it's amazing when you know that you can do it and get up there and you just show and have fun, and I love it.
Every year our club gets bigger and bigger, and so there's always more kids, and showmanship is such a tedious class. There's just so many people, it takes so long, but it's easy enough that you can just walk and trot your horse. It's just the hard part is standing in line with your horse, really.
In showmanship, you have to put on a white halter, and you have to go up to the judge and walk around a cone and trot and tell him a couple body parts of the horse, and you have to set him up, like showing your horse off. So I used my favorite horse, Mike, and he did amazing. He stood, and he was a great horse. Our first horse was a Percheron, and we liked the look of him, so we decided to get more. All 8 of these are all of our horses. My favorite part is that they're nice and they're fun to drive and work with.
You don't have to own your own horses. You can borrow people's horses because they want everybody to have fun, and not really anybody has their own horses. Always remember to not act scared, or the horses will think there's something to be scared about.
Decorating is a timed class. You have 30 minutes to braid the forelock, mane roll their entire mane, put 7 flowers in that mane, and then to put their tail in a tight little bun. And it's really just kind of a race against time, and you want to get everything as tight as possible and as clean looking as possible. And it's, I don't know, it's one of my favorite classes. It's really fun. I think it's a good skill to know for when you're doing showmanship. You want to be able to keep hair out off the horse's face and off the horse's butt so they can judge it better.
Well, if you want to grow up and be in the big hitches, you got to know how to decorate, because it's going to help out the hitches. And my cousin even got called out. The hitches came through and they said, does anyone know how to mane roll? And she got to go help one of the hitches to mane roll them. So I feel like that's pretty cool, and I want to tour with a hitch one day. So I feel like it's a really important skill to know. I braided my horse Ramsey. He's 15 years old. I practiced a lot with him in the upcoming weeks. Every day I'd go out there that I could and I'd mane roll him to get faster at it. And I felt that he did really great today. I got new flowers and they were pricking my fingers, so I got a little bit of blood on one of them.
You have to do the mane roll, which is on like the side of their head, and you got like really long rope, but it's really big, and you have to, it's like you gotta flip it everywhere, and it's hard to do. Then you gotta do the foretop, which is the thing you do with the bangs. You take a ribbon and you braid it through their hair. You have to do the tail, and I do mine a different way than you're supposed to. I just put the rubber band in and then braid it. Then I put another rubber band on the bottom. Then I fold it up and put the bow on. When you're making a horse pretty, they can stand still for you. They stand still, I promise you that. It's nice to make them pretty because it's like you doing it on a human. You just doing it. It's nice to make someone else feel happier, another horse feel happy, and it's really fun because then they just prance around. Most of the time they prance around after they're pretty because they know that they've got something, and it's really pretty.
The gray horse that I took out, his name's Andy, and he's all new to this first year here, and he didn't really know what to do. He was scared of the cones, and he just freaked out a little. You have to be in contact with your lines because that's what controls the horse to step up, go to the left, the right, back up. That's like the steering wheel on a car.
When you're as small as me, you can just see under the horse, but when you're tall, you have to look around the sides, and it's like hard, because sometimes the horse don't like to go over the boards, and they don't like to go on the cones, and sometimes they don't listen. They can't hear you because you're way back there and kind of got a smaller voice than them because they are huge. And you're so small. I mean, even when you're really, really tall, they're still taller than you. When you do ha and G, it's loud. You gotta like say it loudly. Like, you know how you scream on a ride? Lower than that, but you gotta make sure they can hear it. You gotta make sure they can hear. When they don't do it, you say it again and you go more to the side and do it.
So my 2 horses are Jim and Paul. Paul is 3 years old, and he hasn't really been to a show ever before, so this is a little interesting for him. Jim is 9. He used to work on an Amish farm, so he's a little bit more relaxed and used to being in a stall. But this is still both of their first years at fair, so it's a new experience for them too, and it's exciting. He trots perfectly fine, will walk when you tell him to, slow down, and if you just keep talking to him, he does really well, and he's just a really great car horse.
I say you gotta believe in yourself and you gotta try doing it. Even if when you get frustrated, you gotta keep working because your leaders aren't gonna let you stop. They're gonna make you keep going. So you're just gonna wanna keep going and go through it. 'Cause my sister, she's had some tough times and so have I, and I've got mad a lot, but I've still gone through it and I've still had a hard time doing it, but I've still gone through it. I've learned and now I'm really good with the horses. I mean, I'm not like my sister, she's really good, but I'm doing better with the horses.
They teach you how to like handle like if your horse freaks out, like how to calm it down, make it nice and calm and be okay and drive again or loose line or whatever you do.
With this amount of kids, I try to take good notes so that I always have something that I can help them with if they do come and ask me. And in the class, I like to point out something positive that they do so that they have some encouragement and also something that they can work on for the next time. Obviously, they're the future of our industry, and to get them headed in the right direction at such a young age is wonderful.
It worked for my family, and I hope my daughter and my son are able to keep going the way the passion. You gotta have passion, and I hope they do too.
We want to thank all of you for watching Gentle Giants this week. Pam and I had so much fun here in LaPorte County.
The 4-H draft horse program here is really something to see. The Merzinski family has kept traditions alive and really brought new teamsters into the draft horse industry. Join us next week right here on Gentle Giants.
And in the meantime, see what's new at our Facebook page.
Bye now. Gentle Giants is brought to you in part by Total Feeds, and with me is Dr. Harry Anderson. There's a lot of ways that you save money by feeding Total Feeds, and one of the ways you've been able to pass on the savings to us, the customers, is by your plain white bags. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, I designed that bag very carefully, Pam, but I decided early on that really the bag, to me, never made any difference whether I was going to buy a feed with a picture or not. So I just decided to look around and shop for the most economical and the toughest bag there is on the market. It is one of the cheapest bags you can buy cost-wise because there's no frills on it. And if you buy them in quantity, that saves some money. And like I tell people, I want to put the cost of my feed inside the bag, not on the outside.